Okay, now, before we get into the data, some of the history, and things that some of you guys are already familiar with, I just want you to pay attention to this right here. Now, this is called Ancestral Mathematics. So, in order for you to be born, you needed two people. Okay. Now, out of those two people, which are your parents, you had four grandparents, both two on your father's side and then two on your mother's side. Now, with your grandparents and those four people, then you have your eight great grandparents. Okay. And then it just continues to go across in that nature. So then let me go ahead and make this bigger for you guys because these words on this particular page is a little bit small. So I want to make sure everybody can read this. So across 12 generational levels, including you, this represents 4,094 theoretical ancestors across 11 generations, right? And this is before you. Now, we do have this thing right here called the pedigree collapse, right? Now, what the pedigree collapse is it essentially means that when you have people who are of the same bloodline or family, for example, if you have first cousins who happen to have a child together, then the mathematics sort of changes because your first cousins would have the same grandparents. So that means their children would also have some of the same grandparents. And that is just something that happened throughout history. So this is theoretical as far as if people were to have children with people that they are not related to. So we do have to make this count and make this into our equation because, of course, if some of you have seen this ancestral map up here online, definitely something that went viral. And one of the questions that it talked about right here, down below, right here, if you can see my cursor, is how many struggles, how many battles, how much sadness, how much happiness, and how many love stories, how many expressions of hope for the future had to occur for you to exist in this present moment. And the conclusion is it was a whole lot of people throughout our history as humans got you here. And we're right now just looking at 12 generations and the 4,094 people it took for you to even be here watching me. And of course, that continues on if you happen to have children or if you happen to have grandchildren, right? Then that's another generation, which then moves you into the parent or the grandparent. And some of you guys are blessed enough to even be great grandparents. And so those generations, but then even if you look at yourself, then going further back, where does your ancestral math go? So now let's go into the one life for 4 centuries. So what does the ancestral math look like for someone the age of 45 years old in 2026? Meaning that this individual was born around 1980 to 1981. Okay. Now we're using an illustrative, parent to child generational interval of approximately 30 years. And that is traditionally, or at least what the data says, that when people have children, women are roughly around 25 to 27, men are around 30 to 32. So we're kind of using an average of the ages of whenever humans start having children. So using that as sort of the generational intervals of like our generations going back, we can kind of look at it down here. So if we were to go back 4 generations, hold on, let me go ahead and adjust this. There we go. Here we go. Okay. So if we were to go back 4 generations, right, that would place your ancestors around 1865. So that would be actually your second great grandparents. So that means the family reached the generation living towards the end of slavery would be your second great grandparents. Again, this is based off of somebody who's 45 years old today. Now, if we go back down here where it says the 7 generations, so then on your 5th great grandparents, your family would have been around 1776. Of course, we just celebrated our 250th anniversary of America this year. So that means in your 5th great grandparents, your ancestors would have been your 7 generations back, your 5th great grandparents around the birth of the United States with the signing of the Declaration of Independence. And then if we go back 12 generations back, this will place them around 1619. So that'd be your 10th great grandparents. The family line reaches the early colonial period and the first documented arrival of Africans in English Virginia. Now, this could be measured by centuries, but, obviously, when we're looking at this as far as the dates, things like that. And remember, if I go back to this last one, so if we go back to your 10th great grandparents, looking at the ancestral map again, then that would put us at the 4,094 humans. It's a lot of people that brought you here, depending, of course, on your age, that went through this time of American society. So